Good afternoon, students. I welcome you once more to our online class. My name remains Dr. Adele, your lecturer on school administration and supervision, educational administration and supervision. I hope you have been staying safe at home and obeying all the health instructions. I wish you the best and hope you remain safe, continue to remain safe until we resume. Thank you as you listen to this lecture. Our lecture today will be examining approaches to organizational management. We will be examining approaches to organizational management. An understanding of how organizations are managed is very important for educational administrators like you, people who are studying educational administration. It is important you understand how organizations are managed. And of course, the school happens to also be an organization. So that is why our first port of call in this class, in this lecture, is to examine the meaning of an organization, types of organization, characteristics of organization, functions of informal organization, purpose of organization, and then the school as an organization. So in this class, we shall be examining these features. An understanding of these features is very important to enable you to understand how the school fits in as a formal organization. So first, we shall first examine what do we mean by the term an organization. What do we mean by the term an organization? Well, from the layman point of view and from what all of you already know, you have seen as an organization where people go to work. Every morning they leave house, they go, I work in so company, I work in so place, I work. And if you are asked to provide a definition of it, the problem begins there. So let us spare some academic definitions. About 2 or 3 such definitions will be provided here. First, organization has been defined as a system that is made up of interdependent parts, and the presence of the various parts and the relationship between them can be understood in terms of the contribution they make to maintain the well-being of the system as a whole or the organization as a whole. Let me take that again. Organization is viewed as a system that is made up of interdependent parts, and the presence of the various parts and the relationship between them can be understood in terms of the contribution that each part makes to the whole. Let me explain that. For you to understand what organization means, what it means is that you must understand it as a group that exists with other interdependent parts, and each part playing a role that contributes to the whole. So it cannot be called an organization if it does not have other independent parts inside it that plays certain roles, and each of the role played by the independent parts contribute to the overall organizational goal attainment. That's one definition. A second definition sees organization as a social unit that pursues specific goals which they are structured to serve. As a social unit that pursues specific goals which they are structured, that which they are made to pursue, to achieve. So what it means here is that organization is goal oriented. Every organization has specific goals it wants to achieve. So for any organization to be called an organization, it has a specific aim or objective which is set out to achieve. So from this definition now, we are at home with what an organization means. From this perspective now, we can see an organization as a group that has interdependent parts, and each of the parts plays a role that contributes to the whole. Each of the parts plays an interdependent role that contributes to the achievement of the organizational objective. Then, from the second definition, we see it as an organized group or unit that have a goal that it pursues. That have a goal that it pursues. So in that sense now, what it means is that for anything to be called an organization, it must have a goal that it tends to achieve. It must have a goal that it tends to achieve. So then does it mean that every group or association that have a goal to be achieved can be classified as an organization? As we progress, we'll be able to explain that. Now, so first here now, what we'll do now is to examine the types of organization. The types of organization. Having explained the meaning of organization, let's look at the types of organization. Basically, there are two types of organization. One, formal organization. Two, the informal organization. Formal organization and informal organization. Formal organization and informal organization. Now, the formal organization can be distinguished by its structure. The formal organization can be distinguished by its structure. It is structured in such a way that it has goals that it intends to accomplish. It has goals that it intends to accomplish. It has people that work, that are employed specifically to pursue those goals. And it has a structure under which it uses to pursue those goals. So it's formalized because it is guided by certain principles and certain rules that enables it to achieve those goals. So in a formal organization, it has what is called power, it has authority, it has structure and method of attaining the goal and method of performing tasks in such a way that goals are achieved. Let me take that again. For an organization to be called organization, it must have a structure, it must have power and authority, it must have method of performance of duties in such a way that the goals of the organization can be efficiently achieved. Now, when these things are present in any organization, we can say that it is a formal organization. Now, the informal organizations are organizations within a formal organization. The informal organization are organizations within a formal organization. Their members interact on an informal basis on more selfish interests of members. So within a formal organization, there are interest groups that operate within that formal organization. For example, in the school system, in the school formal organization, we have informal groups like the trade union, like the students' union, like the cultural groups, the ASU, NASU, and all those informal groups that exist within the formal group. They are classified as informal organization. They are called informal organization. Now that we have known the difference between formal and informal organization, let's look quickly at the functions of let's quickly examine the characteristics of a formal organization. The characteristics of a formal organization. How do we know a formal organization? What are the various characteristics that are found within any formal organization that when these characteristics are present, we can say, yes, this is a formal organization? Those characteristics include the following. One, within any formal organization, there is a coordination of activities. In every formal organization, the activities in that organization are coordinated in such a way that people perform different roles, and each of those roles they perform are coordinated towards the attainment of the overall goal of the organization. So in every organization, there is a coordination of activities that goes on. The coordination there means that there are different units performing different functions. And each of those functions are coordinated in such a way that the end result is the achievement of the overall goal of that organization. So that's one of the characteristics. And it is deliberately too. A formal organization is deliberately planned and created. A formal organization is deliberately planned and created. That is, it's a deliberate action. Today we shall plan for ourselves an organization. Maybe we want to produce certain good, or want to begin to render certain service, and then we decide to establish an organization, give it a name, and then this is our purpose. So organization is something that is deliberate. So one of the characteristics is that it is deliberately planned. 2, 3. Formal organization is goal-oriented. Formal organization is usually goal-oriented. Formal organization have goals it intend to achieve, have set goals. You can as well call it objective that it is set out to achieve. Such objective could be product-oriented or service-oriented. You could decide to produce a tangible good or decide to render service. So such is classified as goal. Then 4, formal organizations have defined tasks, have well-defined tasks. Now, in every formal organization, the activities that are carried on by people in that organization have well-defined meaning. Everybody knows exactly what the activity you will perform. Everybody knows. If you are a manager, you know you are a manager. If you are a teacher, you know you are a teacher. If you are a clerk, you know you are a clerk. If you are a accounts officer, you know you are a accounts officer. If you are a cleaner, you know you are a cleaner. If you are a messenger, you know you are a cleaner. So in every organization, there are tasks to be performed, well-defined tasks to be performed by different persons within that organization. There is also a defined relationship. That's number 5 now. There is defined relationship within the organizational structure. Every member of the organization and in every unit you belong in the organization, you have defined relationship of how to interact among yourself. The manager knows the relationship he has with the officers under him. The officers know their relationship with their manager, in that order. The teacher knows his relationship with the student. The student knows their relationship with the principal and all that. The gate man in a school knows his relationship with the principal and knows his relationship with the students and all that. So everybody have well-defined tasks and well-defined relationship within an organization. Then there is also authority and leadership. There's authority and leadership. In every organization, there is an authority. There is a leader. And the position of a leader goes with authority. The leader commands commensurate authority that goes with the office he occupies. For example, a teacher teaching in the class is the leader in the class. And as a leader in the class, he combines that with authority. That is why we can tell the students all stand, all sit. We can tell the students kneel down. We can tell them do this or that. We are doing that as a result of the authority we command as a result of the leadership position we occupy there. The principal also have the authority to discipline an erring teacher because of his or her position of leadership in the school. So in every organization, there are usually leadership positions, and every leadership position goes with authority. It is the authority that helps the leader to direct the activities of members of that organization towards the goal the organization is set to achieve. Now, another important characteristic of organization is that organization exists with people. Organization exists with people. There is no organization that does not exist with people, because it is people that drives the goal that the organization intends to achieve. Without people, there is no organization. Even with modern technologies, people will still be needed to operate the modern technologies. Even with the advent of technology, hardware and software to aid office work, people must still operate those hardware and software. So without people, there can't be organization. So people is the organization, as well as organization is people. Now, in every organization, there is the use of human and material resources in the operation of the organization. So one of the characteristics of organization is the availability of material resources. with which the organization is able to pursue its goal. In the school, the resources there, we have human and material resources, we have the classroom facilities, we have the equipment, we also have students and teachers. Without this, we'll be having an empty space. So organization makes use of human and material resources for it to be formal, for it to be called a formal organization. In every organization, there are rules. There are rules to be obeyed. There are rules to be obeyed. Organization is guided by rules. Those rules guide the conduct of every member of the organization. If there are no rules, people will behave the way they like. The rule guides us on when to resume work. The rule guides us on the work to do. The rule guides us on when to close. The rule guides us on the behavior we put up in the organization. It is those rules that conduct the behavior of members and help them to tend towards achieving the organizational goals. So for every organization to be known as a formal organization, it must have rules. It must also have sanctions. Where there are rules, there must be sanctions. Those who disobey rules are punished. There are different types of punishment, different types of functions that are found in an organization. Some of them are laid down principles. Some of them are laid down rules. Some of them laid down doctrines which every member must comply. If you don't comply, there is a commensurate punishment for that. So for it to be called an organization, there are rules. Then organization also employs specialization. Every organization employs specialization. And people who work in the organization are based on specialization. People who work in an organization are based on specialization. For example, in every organization there are units. Those units, people who work in those units are employed based on their area of specialization. In the school, for example, teachers are employed based on areas of specialization. So teachers who specialize in mathematics are employed as mathematics teachers. Teachers who specialize in English are employed as English teachers. We also have support staff, those who are not academic staff, who are also specialized in one area or the other, like the accounts department. People are employed based on their specialization. People who are even employed as cleaners and messengers are employed based on what they do. You are employed as a messenger, you work as a messenger. You are employed as an accounts officer, you work as an accounts officer. You are employed as a cleaner, you are a cleaner. You are employed as a security officer, you are a security officer. So every organization has specialization upon which people are recruited. All right. Organization too, another characteristics of an organization is that it has some degree of formality. It has degree of formality. Now, in relationship between members of the organization, it is formal. It is formal. People are treated on equal basis. There is equity. There is fair play in dealing with people within the organization. All these are structured so that things wouldn't go in the wrong way. People will behave and work in accordance to prescribed rules. Then also there is division of labor. There is division of labor. In every organization, job is done according to what you can do. People are given jobs to do according to the area of specialization, and that leads to what is called division of labor. One person does not do multitasking. You do the area you are specialized, which gives you comparative advantage, and you become efficient in that area, and then the organization will achieve its goal. So for every organization, for an organization to be called an organization, it must have these characteristics of division of labor. Then finally, there is hierarchy of authority. There is hierarchy of authority. Hierarchy meaning from the top to the bottom. In every organization, positions are occupied from top to the bottom. So that is why we have the management cadre, those who occupy the managerial level position, and then those who occupy after that level and that. So in a school situation, at the secondary school level, for example, we have the principal, who is at the top in a school system. Then we have the vice principal academics, vice principal admin, occupying a position immediately after them. Then we have the unit heads, departmental heads that are in charge of the various departments or units. Then we have the teachers, the various subject teachers. We have the year heads and all that. All of them are hierarchically placed. And then we have the students in the last rung of the cadre. The students also play their own role in the position, because without students there cannot be a school. So in every organization there is usually hierarchy of authority in which the positions are placed from the top to the bottom. These are the characteristics with which we know an organization. Now let's quickly consider the functions of an informal organization. Having explained the characteristics of a formal organization, let's look at the functions of an informal organization. Informal organizations, like I told us, are organizations that exist within the formal organization. The organizations that exist within the formal organization. The examples are trade unions, students' union groups, cultural groups, and all that, and even religious groups that exist within the formal organization. Now, in higher institution, for example, we have the groups they call the ASU, the NASU, the students' union, and then the ethnic cultural groups, and we also have religious groups. All of these groups make up the informal group, the informal organization. The informal organization within a formal organization plays very important role for the stability of the organization. That is why we also bring it in. The informal organization within a formal organization play prominent role for organizational stability and goal attainment within an organization. That is why it is also important to examine their functions and the role they play. Now, they play very significant roles in the formal organization, which include the following. One, very prominent among their role is that they satisfy the social needs of their members. They are like a selfish group. They are like a selfish group or interest group. They pursue the interests of their members. In a higher institution, for example, all of us are aware of ASU and what ASU pursue. ASU will always pursue the interests of their members, being the academic lecturers in the higher institution. But matters concerning the non-academic doesn't concern them. Their only interest is on their members. The NASU too, the non-academic staff, also pursue their own selfish interests. The students' union do the same thing. The cultural group do the same thing. The religious group in an organization, all of them do the same thing. So first and foremost, their function is to satisfy the needs of their members within the formal organization. They also serve as an additional channel of communication. Now, if an organization wants to disseminate information to staff in the organization, they can as well pass that information through the informal organizations. It is the informal organizations now that will now pass the message to their members. If the school authority, a university authority, want to pass information to staff and ensure that that information is carried out, the best channel to pass such information through is the ASU for the academic staff, then the NASU for the non-academic staff. And you see that the members will quickly comply to that. If you also want to pass information to the students, the best channel is to pass it through their union, the student union leaders, and immediately you pass it to their. So you see, they play a role for the stability of the formal organization. 3, the informal organization is a source of motivation to members. They also motivate their members when they agitate for the benefit of their members. You see, it will help to motivate their members to work. If, for example, you're an informal organization in a formal organization like the ASU agitates for salary increase and achieve that, it will make the members to work hard because they know that the organization will always be there to fight for their interests. All right. It also provides security and stability to workers in that organization because they are protected. Your member, there are certain organizations where certain members were sacked And the union there defended them and said, no, it cannot happen. They go on strike until their members are recalled back. So the informal organization also provide security for their members. They also help to exercise control on the behavior of members through their group norms and rules. In every informal organization, there are still rules governing members of that informal group. Those rules help to regulate the conduct of their members within the formal organization. It also helps members of the formal organization to become creative, because the union or the informal group will help the members to develop their creativity, and those creativities are channeled towards the overall attainment of the formal organization where they operate. Now, having examined the functions of the formal organization, let's quickly look at the purpose of organization. What purpose does an organization serve? What purpose does an organization serve? What is the overall purpose of an organization? Basically, organizations are established for three major purposes. Basically, organizations are established to serve three main purposes. One, they could be product oriented. An organization could be established to produce a product. A product as we have the cars, the furniture, you name them. You have the Coca-Cola and all that. You have MTN, you know. So a product, an organization can be established for the purpose of producing a product. Products that are tangible, that people can see. That's one. An organization can also be established to render service. An organization can also be established to render service. Services are such things that are not tangible, but you can see the services. For example, we all know that the military render services. We also know that the education industry also render services. We also know that the banks render services. You cannot see their tangible products, but they are as well rendering services which people need. You know, so people in a society need products, and they as well need services. So organizations aim at satisfying these products and these services. Then another function, another purpose of establishing an organization is for the purposes of experience and knowledge. Experience and knowledge. Some organizations such as the school, the colleges, the universities, research institute provide knowledge and experiences. So there are establishments that their purpose is just to provide knowledge, like the universities, like the research centers or research institutes, even schools. So in this case now, you can see that the school as a formal organization performs dual purpose. The school as a formal organization performs dual purpose. They perform dual purpose in the sense that they are product oriented and as well as service oriented and experience and knowledge oriented. Let's examine how the school is able to perform these functions. Now, when we say product oriented, now every organization that produces tangible products, we can see them in the form of cars, in the form of the laptop we use, in the form of your handset, in the form of any tangible goods you can see that you can use and get satisfaction, like the Coca-Cola product which all of us use. All right. Now, in the case of the school is also product oriented because the school produces tangible human beings that we see are now qualified as engineers, as medical doctors, as trained teachers, as lawyers, that we can tangibly see and say this is the product of education. So along that line, the school is also product oriented because it is through the school system that these human capitals are produced and given to society, and then they render useful services. Then on the area of rendering of services, now school also perform this function. Like the hospital render services, they treat sick people. The police and army render services by defending us. You know, the cleaner, even in their office, render services by cleaning the offices. All right. So along this line, the school also provides educational services by teaching people in the school, by teaching and disseminating knowledge in the school. So you see, the school, the education sector, the education system, or the school performs this function, whether product or service oriented. The school performs this function. That is why we classify the school as a formal organization. It is on this basis that we can now understand the relevance of this topic we are teaching today. The school as a formal organization. The school as a formal organization. The school exhibits all the characteristics of a formal organization as I have outlined them here. All the characteristics that we took up here, one after the other, if you examine them, you will see that the school have that characteristics. Whatever the bank does, whatever services the bank does, whatever qualifies the bank as a formal organization, the school has it. Whatever qualifies the Coca-Cola industry as a formal organization, the school have it. Whatever qualifies a company that produces car as a formal organization, the school also have such characteristics. And above all, the school renders both product. The school is product oriented and service oriented, because you can see the tangible product that the school produces, and you can see the services that the school renders to the society and to the individual. So against this background, you can now see that the school can be classified as a formal organization. This knowledge is important for educational administrators so that they have the foundational base to understand how the school functions. It is important for school administrators to have this knowledge so that they will be able to understand how the school functions and the contributions of the school to the society and to the individual. It is also important that you understand the informal structure within the formal structure so that you can understand the roles of this informal structure within a formal structure. If the informal structures are not there, then organizations will be treating the staff however they like. They will be treating the staff however they like. You know, you saw what happened recently when dock workers were arrested by the governor of the university. The dock workers all over the federation threatened to go on strike, which made the government to release their staff. That is the role of the informal organization. So they are very prominent and they are very strong. They are very in every organization. Without them, the formal organization will not be able to be well stable and then achieve the overall purpose. On that note, ladies and gentlemen, the class is a brief one. That is the end of our class today. We have been able to examine organizational management, and first we're looking at formal organization, their characteristics and their functions, and we are able to examine the school as a formal organization. Now the school is a formal organization because the school exhibits all the characteristics which every formal organization exhibits. So along that line, we can classify the school as a formal organization. Thank you and God bless. See you again next week.